How's everybody doing? Oh, not too bad. Race 6. Or round 6. It is the final round of the season. Okie dokie. Alrighty. Well, good evening to those watching the live stream. This is Project International Touring Series presented by Snail. Pardon me. It has been a number of weeks since I have streamed racing. I've been very busy on the home front doing projects and stuff, and it's just been a little bit tough to sit down for a couple hours and watch these guys race and be a part of this, but I am back, and I think I will have Fallen Log again with me tonight, commentating, if he's not driving. I believe the boys are going to set up another room so we can get the track back to green, meaning all the brake markers are in place for qualifying. So just a few more minutes and we're going to kick off some qualifying here at Sears Point. This is round 6 of the season, the final race. And there is my invitation now. Good evening, Mr. Fallen Log.
Hello, give me just a second.
Yeah,
Make
sure.
Everything's set right. Everybody should be able to hear me tonight. Which is already better than usual.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Everybody should be able to hear me. Usually better than usual.
Oh. Very good, very good. I'm sorry, what was that? Alright, let's see. I have... Thank you! I know. I have been MIA for quite some time now. I think I missed every race this season, unfortunately. Cool. Good job. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm sure you guys appreciate that as well. Cool. Good job. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the one we got was on, but it was complete chaos.
Really?
Yeah, they tried to do a rolling start and confusion happened, so.
Ah.
Really? But yeah, I just recently got back from a trip to Arizona. I'm back.
Yes. What's going on in Arizona?
We had to pick up my roommate's stuff. He had moved from Arizona up to here about a year ago, and we finally got his stuff from there to here.
Gotcha.
I do plan on going back down there again when I have more free time.
Right on. I have to say, using this controller is a bit alien now.
Oh, why is that?
Well, for one, I haven't been playing or doing anything really up until last weekend. But I got my first gaming PC together.
Nice.
And I have a Xbox Elite controller that I've been dabbling with that. So, not that I haven't done a whole lot of gaming with it, but I think enough to where now this feels a little bit weird. I actually had to take a one of my monitors back to Best Buy yesterday. Yeah, it wasn't. It was doing something goofy. You know, it really. You know, they're brand new, and you know, I was testing out Project Cars on PC, just because I'm most familiar with the game. You know, playing it here. Mm-hmm. And just some goofy stuff would happen just out of nowhere. Like the one screen, like the colors would go out of whack or whatever, just like crazy all of a sudden. And I could reset the monitor and everything would be okay, but it would do it again. And you know, granted, this is brand new, you know. So and then I'm like, oh well, something that could be goofy. So I did like a hard reset on it. I did a little bit of research online, and it's basically unplugged everything. Let it sit for a minute or so, and then got back to it. And that chaotic color change stopped happening. But then I started to realize that just the color in general was off. It wasn't like the other two monitors. And I could adjust it with color settings, but it took a lot of adjustment, and I was like, you know what? I've literally bought these 3 weeks ago. I've had it unboxed for 2 days. I'm just gonna take it back. Like, there's no sense in gambling with it. You know what I mean? I mean, Samsung's got pretty good warranty on their monitors, but I just, you know, if I don't have to deal with that in the future, why bother? Why risk it? You know? So I just took it back.
Looks like qualifying. Yeah, it looks like qualifying is just starting here.
Yep, the guy is going to have 15 minutes here at Sonoma.
Oh, that's a name I haven't seen before.
Yes, KWH 581 is... Well, maybe you have. Then there's Abstract.
Yeah,
I have not
Abstract
seen.
is the one I have never heard of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a couple new racers here, which is awesome.
I know KWH, I believe, from another series I ran, and
Okay.
his name seems familiar, so...
Cool deal. Right on.
And all the usual suspects are here as well.
Yes, absolutely. From One Space to Filipino has been a regular lately. Good to see. I like seeing Filipino on track. Racer, Mopar, Vovik, Sketty. And then the Founding Fathers, Z93 and Alex. So I will get to... Let me get on track here for a second so I can monitor.
Unfortunately, my roommate, who does race in the series, will not be here tonight. He has had absolutely no practice, and he does not feel he would be confident enough to get around the track.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, it's a bit of a gamble if you're not confident in your ability to get up to speed quickly. I know I'm the same way. If I haven't put in the practice, I could probably compete, with little practice, but I wouldn't be competitive at the level that I expect myself to be competitive at. And if I'm not, then I'm not having fun. Well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if I'm racing for 3rd or 13th. If I'm not at the level that I expect myself to be, or at least in some, relatively
and
close.
What I'm finding with a lot of guys here is they feel the same way. They're nervous about not having practice going into a racing weekend or a racing session. If we run regular Monday practice every Monday night, we run a practice session for the series. It's fairly well announced. It's fairly well scheduled nowadays. So most everybody does show up for that Monday practice, and those who do definitely benefit from it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's one thing to practice by yourself. You can get hot laps in, you can get the feel for the track and the car, but then you introduce the aspect of the cars around you. That's what the Monday practice is for, is to get acclimated to the cars around you. And then you come here on Wednesday to actually race. And I think it's a really good system. You have a week to prepare, and then Monday shows what you have a little bit, and then you show up Wednesday to race.
Yeah, I think it works out pretty well. I would agree with that. So you're watching Mighty Mopar run some laps. I'm just booting up my timing at the moment.
Unfortunately, my timing decided it wanted to fall off my bed about a week, or not a week, but 3 weeks ago now.
Oh, now it's doing...
And broke the motherboard.
What happened? You broke your motherboard?
Yeah, I was using a laptop, and the charging cord had been plugged in for the night, and it was sitting on my bed. The cat grabbed the charging cord and ripped it off my bed. And it fell and hit the right on the charging port, and what it did was it jammed the charging port into the motherboard, pretty much shattering a piece of the motherboard off.
Oh, jeez.
And now the computer won't start. So, luckily, unlike most car computers that fall off a bed, the hard drive was still fine. So I didn't lose any of my hard data, which is always nice. When you lose your computer, that's the first thing you're concerned about is my hard drive okay?
Yeah, absolutely. All your stored information.
Yep. So basically, I called one of my computer guru buddies. He told me, okay, first thing I want you to do is take out the hard drive and see if it still boots up the same way. And so I did. It would start up, and it'd go into a boot menu, and then it'd shut back down.
Oh.
So I did. And when I removed the hard drive, it'd start up, go into that boot menu, and then shut back down. So I was like, okay, that tells me the hard drive's going to be fine, because it wasn't making any weird noises or anything anyway, so... I just gotta find a hookup now, and I can get retrieve all my stored data, which will always be nice to have back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this whole PC endeavor. I built a pretty nice... I guess I would call it an average gaming system. Maybe it's probably above average, but it's nothing too crazy. It's not like...
What kind of frames are you hitting with your average game? Say Project Cars and stuff like that.
I was when I first turned it on. I was practicing. I was just testing the game out, and trying to get used to the controller, just dabbling really. And Filipino, and I don't want to get too far away from the action here on track, but Filipino currently fastest at a 130.400 provisional pole sitter, followed by Mopar, who is about 0.6 slower. No, about a second now. Filipino just ran a 129.9. Watching him on track here, he's really driving it hard. And I wish I could speak much, or at least some, about driving this car hard, but I personally have no practice laps or anything, so I really don't even know how this car drives.
I've driven it for a few laps, but that was before this event, or before the series started.
I
haven't been on track with the car neither. All I know is, out of the box, it's a very, very quick and very loose car.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's evidence of that. Well, he's got a pretty quick lap at the moment. He's got 0.6 or so on Mopar. Sketty's at a 131, as is Vovic. Z in the 132s, Alex, Racer, and One Space all in the 134s. Getting back to your question, when I first started testing Project Cars on my computer, I was running a little Scion sports car. What is it? The FRS, is that right, or is it the Toyota version?
I think it is.
Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was running at Brands Hatch Indy. And I was surprised that I was only seeing like about 58 frames per second, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but I expected it to be a little bit more, considering it was just myself. I was just doing practice laps for myself. No other tracks or no other cars on screen or even on track. But I was talking to other guys, namely Cards, that races in this series from time to time, and he says it does seem to be that it really kind of varies. It just depends on the situation. It really seems to depend on the track, because later, like a day or so later, I was fiddling around doing an online race. I was running like an LMP 900 or something like that at a different track. It was Donington. I was running at Donington with about 15 or so AI cars. Oh, and Filipino off again. That's not going to be a fast one. Mighty Mopar to the front with a 129.5. He's now 0.4 up on Filipino for the pole with about 5 minutes to go. Still enough time to get one more hot lap in if Filipino has anything left. So racing, doing that race against a bunch of AIs, I was running closer. I was running in the 80s.
Okay.
Frames per second, which I think that's pretty strong. Now that's probably with, I would say, 2 to 3 other cars on screen at one time. It was a little difficult to see because I had the overlay turned on Steam. Steam allows you to overlay your FPS right over the game itself in live time, but it displays it at the top right hand corner of the screen. Now, I'm running triples. And so where that's at is literally like 90 degrees to the right of my eyes. So yeah, I physically have to turn my head to read it. So it's not the most convenient place for it, but it is there if I want to look at it from time to time and just see what it's doing. But the performance is there. The performance is there. I don't have everything, all the stuff cranked up all the way. Actually, I've just let the video card just kind of automatically changes all the specs as far as the graphic settings and stuff like that to optimal. You know, I know there's some manual stuff that I can fiddle with here and there that'll probably boost performance without hindering the visual quality, but I can say that the visual quality is stunning. I mean, it looks good on PS4, but you know, I'm looking at three 1080 screens, 144 hertz that are 20 inches from my face, and it's brilliant. You know, and you would be concerned that being that close to a monitor that you would just start to see quite a bit of pixelation, but not at all. They're only 24-inch screens. I run three. They're Samsung CFG 24s or CFG 70. 24-inch curved monitors. They're pretty nice. I'm looking forward to getting back to getting the third one again, so I can fiddle around with that a little bit more.
My little dabble in the PC hasn't been that spectacular. It was with a laptop, mind you, so I'm playing on... It was a business laptop. It wasn't even meant for gaming, so...
Yeah.
My little dabble, the biggest games I played was American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, and Farming Simulator. And unfortunately, all I could get out of the computer with decent graphics, mind you. These were pretty decent graphics. I was still pushing around 30 frames on a business computer.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting an actual PC that I can actually freaking play these games on and enjoy them for what they really are, because there were certain things I noticed that my computer just could not render.
Yeah,
and
for sure. I mean, there's definitely a difference between a computer
Vovik
that's
just took second place.
built for... Yes, Mopar is all the way down to a 129.0. Vovik goes to a 129.4, only 4/10ths back. Filipino is about 9/10ths back at a 129.9. One Space and Sketty in the 30s. Z at a 132. Alex and Racer in 134s. And we have well under 2 minutes to go in this, so the lap that you're on is probably going to be your last one. Here's One Space. Coming down the big horseshoe. But yeah, I've been pretty happy with it thus far. Like I said, I haven't really played much on it, but enough to enjoy it for what it is.
A few of your PlayStation friends join over to the PC side, you'll probably be on it a little bit more often.
Yeah,
I know one of our fellow racers, Jackson, has been spending a lot of time over there.
Yes, I know he hasn't been.
We miss him over here.
Racing yet?
Now.
I know he hasn't been racing yet because he doesn't have equipment and he's not a controller user.
No, but I hear his farm is thriving. So
yeah, good. That's good to hear. Very impressive. My only complaint with Project Cars on PC is that the even in triples, and there are your results for qualifying. Mopar is going to be on the pole, followed by Vovik, Filipino, and One Space will be your starting. And just a few minutes of a warm-up here. These guys will get an opportunity to make a couple small changes and get ready for the start?
I'm really looking forward to getting the money finally together to build my own gaming PC. I already have my list together of stuff I want.
Oh, do you?
That list was built almost a year ago. So
things have changed quite a bit. You know how technology works. A little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Granted, I was going for pretty well top of the line stuff. I don't want to dabble in,
entry level,
mid-range.
No,
yeah,
I don't think you do. No,
I've done the entry level. The entry level was my laptop, and
especially when it comes to gaming, because they really will push a computer,
Yes.
So I don't expect that I'll be able to run mine for 5 years without doing some kind of upgrades to it, but we'll see if I can get a few years out of it without having to make any major changes. I mean, the only thing that I could probably see myself doing is probably adding another video card and running an SLI setup.
Right.
I can overclock it. I bought an unlocked processor, so I can get some more speed out of it should I feel the need to.
Basically, what I told my computer guru that helped me build my list is, get me a list that can run all of today's AAA games at good graphics at least 120 frames, and he did that. And yeah, it's not the cheapest setup I've ever seen. No, but
if I may ask, what is that gonna run, ish?
For me, I was running through a discount site, Newegg. Runs a lot of deals constantly, and when I looked it up, granted this was a year ago, so sales have changed, and I'm going to be updating and changing my parts around. But somewhere around $1,200 to $1,500 for what I want.
Okay, well that's right in line with what I spent.
Okay.
Mine was like 13 something, all said and done. Obviously, that doesn't include my monitors, but
right.
Yeah, for the PC itself, all the components, yeah, I'm in the same range.
It's not the cheapest thing to get into, and that's the unfortunate thing is that's what I like about the console is it's plug and play. You buy the console, you plug it into your TV, and you're ready to go.
Absolutely. I have these conversations with friends of mine at work that game, and that's really it. That's really what it boils down to, is that consoles are plug and play, and you kind of have to fiddle around with PC games a little bit to maximize. If you're all about performance and getting it to look the best and run the fastest, then there's a lot of customization. For instance, I got that Xbox Elite controller. I bought it mainly because obviously it's a Microsoft product, so it's going to work with Windows, no problem. But I like the idea that Elite controller has paddles on the back of it, so you have even more button options. But right out of the gate, what I didn't realize was that those paddles are actually just linked to the top 4 buttons. Which is like, okay, well, what's the point of that? I mean, I understand the point, but it's not as flexible in use as you might think. However, using it on a PC, there is an app called, I think it's REWESD or whatever, something.com. There's an app that basically allows you even more tuning possibilities out of that controller on a PC than even the Xbox application allows. So you can basically make those 4 triggers completely different actions.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was actually, when I was testing, because that controller is so flexible in use, I was able to do something I've wanted to do for a long time, and that's drive a car in full-blown manual mode. Meaning I have a trigger as a clutch, and I have 6 buttons for each of the 6 different gears. So to shift, you actually have to depress the clutch and whatever gear you want to go to. And then obviously release to engage, just like a car.
Yep. That was
That
one
is
thing I
not
loved about my wheel.
easy. Let me tell you,
No.
it is very awkward, but it's a lot of fun, and a bit satisfying once it starts to become a little bit more fluid. But these boys are going to roll off here, so I am going to have to switch over my audio here in just a second. I'm going to get out of the way here. Guys, we'll take a parade lap around. I will retire. I will spectate. I will go.
And I will see you when the race starts.
Yep, I will switch over to the other audio here for a second to call the start, and then we'll be off. So just to clarify, how are you guys handling the situation? Okay. Drivers, this is round 6 of the season. Last and final. Tighten it up. Green, 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 green! Well, Fallen, we got some pretty good action here in the first couple laps. Looks like Sketty had a little bit of an off there, and he's fallen back in line behind Mopar, who has been hunting, and I do mean hunting Filipino, but becoming the hunted at the moment. Sketty got a little bit of a run here. Nothing doing at the moment. Alex O'Neill's sitting in a solid third. Little gap behind, little gap ahead, and it's still one space chasing down Vovik for the lead. But it has not
be that way for a while.
It has not stretched out. These two.
This is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the same battle that was going on last week.
Oh, yes. Nice.
Yeah, I think this is just a continuation, so.
Very good. Well, let's talk points. Vovik currently sitting at 193 in third place in points. Now, that's total points after 5 rounds. So it's not necessarily the greatest indication of where they stand, because the series only counts your your best 5 out of 6 races. Vovik's worst race, points wise, was round 3, where he scored 31 points for the evening.
When we did this last time, we got this wrong, so let's make sure we do our math right this time.
Yes, everything should be good. I noticed a little bit of error when I did the scoring for last week, and it should be good. Well, I also have more detail in the spreadsheet now than I did last season. I have everybody's weekly totals, so I can say that if, for instance, if Vovik scores more than 31 points this week, or tonight I should say, then round 3 will be his drop, for instance. Mopar's worst effort was the first round of the season, which was a 32. So if he does better than that, then that'll be his drop. So I will score in live time tonight, and I can't say that I can give an official score at the end of the evening, because provided there are no penalties and whatnot, then that would be accurate. But we do have to allow some time for that.
The last time we tried to call the champion on live audio, we got it wrong. So, but that was also a transitional phase between scorers as well, and all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah, that was not having all the right information in front of us.
Yep.
I have it. My spreadsheet automates it now. So
nice.
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of race for the team championship. It'll be Filipino and Vovik by a long shot on this one.
Technicalities.
Well, it's just not a whole lot of participation, unfortunately, on the team front, because it being a team championship, both drivers have to compete. And one space is really giving Vovik a hard time here. He's really reeling him in, putting a lot of pressure on him at the moment. Let's fade back a little ways. Filipino still holding off Mopar. And Mopar had a pretty strong pole run, but he has not been... Well, let me see what his... I mean, his fast lap's on pace, but he can't do that regularly in the traffic that he's in. He's running 131.32s right now, pretty much at Filipino's mercy. Looking to try to get a run here down to the hairpin. It's not going to be close enough here.
Yeah. Racing the
things are spreading out quite a bit at the moment. Closest race on track is really Filipino and Mopar. And Vovik in one space just kind of... Vovik pulls out a few tenths, Vovik and then one space go back and forth. Yeah.
Yep. It's
for
a continuation of last week. And Filipino... He was doing all right last week, but I'm not 100% certain what went on. But oh yeah, I know what happened. He ended up hitting a landmine, unfortunately, and his car ended up upside down in one of the corners. So that was the unfortunate end to his night. It's the nature of the game. Unfortunately, some things just didn't get fixed in updates, and that was one of them.
Yep. Unfortunate.
But in the Q&A thread, as far as I can tell, it's all hearsay because you're talking to the president of the company. They say they've addressed the issue and they haven't run into an issue in months. So, we'll have to see when the game comes out whether or not they fix the issues that we're having here.
Oh, in 2? I think a lot of things will be fixed in 2. I'm looking forward to 2. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to here come the end of the year, because I'm hoping to have a full-blown driving rig by the turn of the year. But there's some really good stuff coming out.
What kind of wheel are you looking at getting for your rig?
A Fanatic.
Obviously. Yeah, if you're going the PC route, that is definitely the best choice for wheels.
Yeah, I mean, outside of going to the really high dollar stuff, I think so.
Yeah. For the average sim racer, that's Fanatec is one of the best companies in the world for their product. Yeah, they're expensive, but you get what you pay for when you come to that. I run a Thrustmaster T300 wheel, and I have not been disappointed with it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, the last wheel I had was a Fanatec Carrera GT wheel that I bought off of eBay for $40. So, you know. Used 2009, 2010 wheel versus brand new 2015 wheel.
And Mopar is after getting around Filipino is starting to show us the pace that he truly has. Just ran a 1:29.9, fastest lap of the race thus far. That's his first lap after getting around Filipino. So it's very interesting. He has a significant pace, but took him several laps to get by. We're running down to 28 minutes left in this 40-minute race, and he spent quite a bit of the first 10 just trying to get around and pretty much walking away at this point. Vovic's still leading. Stretched out his lead on one space by about a second and a half or so. Mopar is 10 seconds behind. He definitely has time to catch the leaders. That's not in question. But as we've seen here, even with at the beginning of the race with fairly fresh tires, not easy to pass.
No.
Filipino put up a very, from what I saw, very good, very clean fight to hold on to that position.
Yes.
For as long as he did against somebody who is 2 seconds faster.
It does look like Sketty is about ready to work on Filipino now.
Catching, yes. Currently under a second behind. Closest races on tracks are closest races on track are still Vovic in one space for the lead, and then this one here, Sketty catching Filipino. Filipino struggling after 11 laps of tire wear on his car. And a little off track there is going to cost him the 5th position.
Looking at this battle between One Space and Volvic here, I'm sincerely thinking that One Space is just sitting there, letting Volvic determine the pace and burn up his tires.
I don't know. Here's the thing that I think about that. If I'm One Space, now that Mopar is behind him, he sees that on his screen. He knows that Mopar is behind. He knows Mopar is faster than him when it comes down to hot lap. At this point, he doesn't have time to wait. If he can be faster than Vovic, he needs to get by him. He need to get away now. If it were 5 minutes to go or something like that, with a 10-second lead, yeah, I would say you could bide your time and make your move very calculated when you're confident that you can pull it off and then sneak by for the win. But with almost a half an hour and the fastest guy in the field is catching you by a second a lap, it's go time.
This is true. At the same time, all these front runners still need to make a pit stop yet, so...
Yes, very true.
I know when I was racing, I usually kind of let the first 5 laps play out, and wherever I ended up, I kind of just sat there until the pit stopped. because there was no point in wrecking your car in the first half of the race. Speaking of pit stops, we do have Racer 420 in the pits.
All right. And he gave up, what, the about 8th spot?
He didn't lose a spot. He came in 8th and went out 8th.
Okay.
One space is in the pits. That's what I figured he was doing. He was waiting for his pit stop. So one space looks like he will emerge in 8th place. Or not 8th, but 6th place, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm seeing 6th as well. At this point, Mopar has chiseled his gap to the lead to right about 8 seconds. Mopar continues to just rattle off 129s lap after lap after lap. Except for that one. That was a 130. And that's 14 laps in, which is really, it's only 12 racing laps, technically. Due to the way we start here in the pit series.
Alex is on his way into the pits.
Is Vovik in?
No, Alex O'Neill just hit the pits.
Okay. I saw
Vovik has not made his pit stop yet.
Vovik had a red lap. That's why I was wondering. He must have had, I wonder if he had a little bit of an off. The gap to Mopar is 5.5.
I'm thinking he did,
and you
as
can
he
see
is
him now.
Directly behind Racer.
You can see him. How do I do this? Darn it.
Vovik is going into the pits.
Oh. Apologies. Mopar will take the lead.
Yes.
With that pit stop by Vovik. Mopar trying to cement his championship here. Currently has an 18-point advantage to one space coming into this evening's events. Points-wise, Vovik and Sketty are very, very, very close.
I do believe, based on
I take it back. I take that back.
Had a very slow pit stop. Vovik just came out of pits. He was directly in front of one space when one space hit the pits. He's nearly a quarter of a lap ahead now.
Let's see, where is our closest battle at? We don't have any door-to-doors at the moment. Filipino only about 5 seconds behind Sketty. Filipino into pit.
Yes. I'm sorry I missed that. I believe that one space had a very slow pit stop. May have had to fix damage or something. I'm not 100% certain.
Maybe that is the case.
As Filipino has merged in front of one space.
Vovik coming out in the third position.
Mopar is going into the pits now.
I don't think... Is Sketty pit yet? I don't think he has.
No. Speaking of, he is entering the pits now. Vovik is coming through the S's. Filipino is currently going through the sweeper onto the short chute down the drag strip. Z has made his pit stop. Abstract is making his pit stop as well.
Mopar's out.
Vovik is coming past the line now. Vovik passes Mopar.
"18 minutes to go in this race." Can Vovik hang on to this lead, or will Mopar hunt him down?
Do we have a live gap yet, or are we still waiting on the...
I'm sorry?
Do we have a live gap between the two of them yet? It was, what, around 5.5 seconds before pit stops?
8 seconds. Vovik Mopar, 8 seconds. Which is
so
pretty much right where it was before pit stops. So
yeah.
now I believe KWH having some issues at pit road, it looks like.
Ooh.
There we go. He made it in there.
I'm not 100% certain on that entry, though.
Yeah, not sure that that's legal, technically. So it is still 8 seconds between Vovik in the lead and Mopar. One space is about 4 seconds behind Filipino. That's a race for the 4th position. There's Filipino there in the white 22. Can he see him? He can see him. A fair bit off in the distance. Mopar chiseling a little bit, but it's not super fast. It's only taken about 7/10 or so out of Volvik's lead.
I don't know if Mopar is going to catch Volvik. I don't think...
Yeah, I'm running the math in my head, and I don't think that he's going to be able to catch him. I really don't see it. It's catching him, maybe. I think once he can get within a snip of him, you know, the lap times are going to come down a little bit more. But passing him, that's tricky. I mean, it took him 6 or 7 laps to get by Filipino. Getting by the leader is going to be a little bit taller of an order, I would say. I mean, I certainly wouldn't rule him out. Mopar's a fast driver, but it's a little bit unlikely at this point. 12 minutes to go. 7-second gap. It is the closest race for position on... No, I take that back. One space is 3 seconds behind Filipino. Mopar ran a 1:29.1 that time by, fastest lap of the race. That's a super fast lap. Beat Volvik by 0.8 that time. Gaps down to 6.1.
You know,
if he can beat him by 0.9 to a second a lap, yeah, he's gonna catch him. But he's really gonna have to dial it in here and get everything that he can out of every lap. Down to 5.8.
Now, do keep in mind, Mopar is probably seeing this drop live as he's driving.
Oh, he is.
He has motivation.
He has the timing on screen, so he knows how far behind he is. He knows where he's losing time. He knows where he's gaining time. It's the benefit of sim racing is there's a lot of information at your disposal. So a lot more than you typically would have in real life, and that's just the nature of the sport. There is a lot of information, and you use that to your advantage when possible.
That's more like the laps that Mopar needs right there. 137 versus 129.4.
Yes. 1.3 seconds. So we have 10 minutes left. It's about 1.5 minutes a lap, so it's possible. Down to less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, Mopar's definitely going to catch Volvik. Passing him is going to be a different story, though.
Z catching Racer 420. Z93 really makes up some time there at the beginning of those S's. Ooh, gonna wash wide there. Little blip of the throttle on entry that really hurt him. Gap to the lead is just about 4 seconds at this point. Looks like Z's gonna make the move here. Maybe not quite. He's gonna have to go by on the outside. Don't put it in the kitty litter.
Bad corner to try to pass him right there.
Yeah, especially on the outside, because it falls away like that and you just lose the nose so easily. And then you are off. Racer did a really good job of hanging on there. Smoked the tires a bit, but didn't lose a ton of momentum. That turn right there, that right-hander, Z really carries some good entry speed into there.
The S's at this track are some of the most fun I've ever had on a single racetrack, yet some of the most challenging S's I've ever seen.
Oh! 3.3 seconds, Volvic to Mopar. Where can Z make this pass? Ooh. Couldn't do it there. Well, he's trying to get on the throttle early there, but you just run out of space. He's just got to figure out where. And continually overdriving isn't going to help.
No. Mopar definitely smells blood in the water now. He can see him constantly.
Yep. 5 minutes and 2.1 seconds. So he's the opportunity is definitely there at this point. Just continuously pounding out 129s. And that's what he needed. He needed a solid second a lap to catch him. You know, there for a minute he was only gaining a couple tenths, and that just wasn't going to work. He needed to be more aggressive than that. Let's watch this battle for the lead. 5 minutes to go, so that's approximately, let's call it 3 laps.
I don't know if Mopar can pass Volvic in 3 laps. Maybe 4. I don't know.
So the start finish is coming up. Start finish is now at 4:33. So yeah, that's going to be 3 laps.
No, that's going to be 4. Based on the speed they're running, they're going to cross the line with about 4 seconds left to spare. That's going to be 4 laps. It's going to be right on that border.
I don't think so. I think Mopar is going to catch him here in about 1 lap, and then they're going to slow each other down. They're not going to get that 4th lap in. That's my guess. I mean, Volvic's running 130s. Mopar's running the 129s. That makes the difference. I don't know. I just don't.
I don't think Mopar has enough to pass Volvic. Based on what I'm seeing on track.
Volvic's stepping it up. You know, he's now in the low 130s. He's typically been in the mid 130s most of the race. Crossing the line now with 303. So yeah, 2 more laps. Here's a lap car. Staying out of the way, thank you very much. And does Mopar get by cleanly? Looks like it. Hasn't affected the gap at all. Mopar really trying to hold a tight line through there. Gets a little bit out of shape. Nothing too bad, but it's still a second and a half. He can catch him. I just don't know if he can pass him.
I think
and he lost a bunch of time right there.
Yeah. Overdriving the car.
Yeah, he was doing everything that he could to make up time. But that just, man. It was a tall order.
It's not over yet. There's still lap traffic. And
mm-hmm. Yep. And here's one staying out of the way. Very nice. Thank you very much. With 130 to go, he might get 2 more laps.
It's going to be close. I think Vovic's going to get 2 laps. I don't think Mopar's going to.
Right. So Volvic needs to take the hairpin slow. Is what needs to happen, because he's going to... he can spare the 2 seconds. You know what I mean? It's kind of like... I forget, was it Sketty or was it One Space that tried to play that game at last season at Dubai, and it didn't work out. He got to the line like 4 seconds too soon. I forget what driver it was. Anyways,
I believe that was One Space.
This could work out in Volvic's favor, but he still has to push hard all the way to the end. But he can give up the last. He can give up a second half or so. About a second. But he's got to be confident that he's got enough. You know, that he's got enough gap to do it. And I don't know. I don't think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna have to run 1 more lap. No, he could do it. He could lift right now.
He timed that perfectly.
I don't know if he's still racing or... Is he still driving? I think he is.
Yes, they're both still driving. They have not crossed the line. At least I know that Volvic has not. I'm not sure about Mopar. The timer for the race finish has not come up, so Volvic is still on track racing. I believe Mopar is too. So my session time remaining was a little bit off versus what they have.
Yeah, probably.
Because it went to 0 as they crossed the line. That might be it. It didn't disappear until after Mopar crossed the line. These are pretty much the only 2 racing right now. We do have one more battle that actually they just went through. Z and Racer are still going at it.
I'm getting information that Mopar is on autopilot, so
Okay.
Volvic is going to take that win. It looks like this lap is a racing lap for Volvic, but when he crosses the line here, that'll be it.
That was unfortunate versus Z. Final corner of the hairpin. Racer drove deep, left the door wide open for Z. Z stuffed his nose in there and caught the tire barrier in the middle of the corner.
Ooh.
And spun it. That was a good race.
Of course, it's always a good race. These guys are awesome. So, Volvic 05 is going to take the win here in round 6, race 1. And I think everybody else is crossed at this point, huh?
That's weird. I would have thought they would have all put on the pitch by now.
Yeah, it's game's goofy.
Yes, officially confirmed. Volvic finished 30 laps. Mopar finished 29.
Have we even seen a countdown at this point?
I have. It's at 79 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even get that. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, I was at the wrong screen.
That was a fantastic drive on Volvic's part to maintain that gap.
It was. He really had to push and dig to maintain that gap. And when he did too, not at the last minute, not when Mopar was, 3 car lengths behind him. You can't let him get that close. He did a really fine job. Great race by Volvic. So that will conclude race 1 here in the next few seconds. I think we're going to take a short 5-minute break, and we will be back for race number 2 of the evening. Am I going to get a save option? Yes, no, maybe so.
I didn't.
Nothing. Nuts.
I haven't had a save option all season long.
nothing.
That's why I liked having my roommate racing, because he always got the save option every week. And now he's not here, I'm not going to have a replay.
Well, we never get replays in this game. Alright, let me see what I can do with the points. There's not really a whole lot that I can show, unfortunately. And that's mainly due to, you know, they've only run one race, so I can't. Obviously, this week is not going to, cannot yet be eliminated as the worst effort. Let's see, I have to make any macros for this.
My dog is so.
Custom sort by final column, largest to smallest. Okay. Back to the top. Stop recording. Assign macro. Don't mind me, I'm just talking to myself as I spreadsheet. Okay, so here's some interesting numbers. Although this is sort of irrelevant, total driver points season to date, and that's all 11 races so far. Mopar 243 in the clear lead. One Space and Volvic tied at 218 with Sketty in fourth at 215. Filipino 176. Hazard 98. F1 Madness 90. Apex 85. Red Nose 78. Xrad 76, Z 61, Sam Haynes 60, Alex 56, Jackson 21, Racer 88, and User fill out the field. So currently, obviously with the win, Mopar had the pole, so that kind of doesn't completely wash the second place finish, but it doesn't sting as bad points wise. It's only a two point deficit for on the night so far to Volvic, but Volvic's in third in points, so one space finished. One Space finished fifth in that race, so One Space was tracking him down there for a couple weeks, I was noticing, but Mopar has really stepped it up the last 2 weeks to ensure that he does not get caught in the points.
Yep. That I have noticed. He has stepped up his game over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, Mopar's currently tonight sitting at 23 points total, and One Space has tallied 16 on the evening. So there's an 18-point deficit between One Space and Mopar. I'm pretty sure that Mopar will more than likely, provided he doesn't have any major issues, he will most likely end up dropping round 1. I need a calculator. And 1 space, provided he has a decent race, will also end up dropping round 1. Now, Mopar's drop is 32 points. 1 space drop is only 29. Let's see something real quick. I would call the provisional point difference about 22 points between Mopar and 1 space for the championship.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that Mopar's gonna win this one. There's not.
Yeah, I mean, the difference that's a win and like last place essentially. Mopar would pretty much just have to finish like 10th to secure a championship.
What is 10th place points?
10th place points is probably on this. I don't know what you call it, but
yeah, I would have that, but my phone vibrated and disappeared. So.
I'm sure it's in page 1, probably in point system. 10th points for a driver pays 11.
Yeah, there's no way that if your math is correct.
Yeah, he would have to. I don't even think he could finish far enough down in this relatively small field to not secure.
Yep.
I mean, we only have 12 drivers? 9. I'm sorry. So the least amount, assuming he finishes, he could score is 12 points. So that's enough to secure, even if 1 space were to win the race.
Absolutely dominating the race.
He would basically have to have a really bad race and get a significant penalty.
Yeah. And we know Mopar's usually better than that, so.
Oh, he is better than that. There's no question about that. I'm gonna switch over and see how these guys are doing, and then I'm gonna go grab another brewski. You got another couple minutes, Alex? Or what? Ooh, I can grab a beer in 1 minute. listening. Thanks, Alex. That was awful.
Abstract start. Abstract first, Z second, Racer third, Alex fourth.
Yup.
Okay, strap on your night vision. It's going to be very hard to see much depth out there.
Yeah, I changed my brake bias.
Alrighty.
I'm here.
I know you are.
Good.
So it's going to be about... Yes.
We are currently in qualifying.
We are we? We are. They did not do the, well... Do you think he knows that?
There's a 5-minute warm-up.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's a manual start anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's fine. Whatever. Anywho. So what, getting back to the PC conversation, what processor were you looking at? Do you remember? Well, first of all, were you going to go AMD or were you going to go Intel?
I was actually looking at Intel i7.
Yeah?
Yep. But I'm not 100% certain. My last computer was AMD, and like I said, it was a laptop that was designed for business, and yet it still ran games at 30, 40 frames a second. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's running games at 30 frames a second shouldn't be that difficult for a computer. I mean, a laptop's different.
Laptop with very limited memory and very limited everything.
Right.
So.
Well, memory is a bit overrated for gaming, in my opinion. From everything that I've read, I run 8. That's it. I got 2 4-gig sticks.
I think my computer ran 4.
Alright, they are starting up. I better get up out the way, yo. Retire, spectate, for the front. There we go. So I think it will be, who is the driver? It starts with an A. Abstract has the top spot, followed by, or I should say with Z, 93, right next to him. Let these guys cycle around a bit, and then I'll call
they're
the race.
already almost all in line. I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, good to see. Good to see. You know what would be good to see? A little bit bigger field. So if you're watching this race out there, if you're one of the 6 other people watching this stream and you have a PS4 and you have I take it back, if you have PS4, you need to get Project Cart and you need to get in here because there's room for you.
And we're always taking new applicants.
Yeah, there's room. I mean, I won't lie, this is a pretty stout field. Half of this field, the top half of this field are pretty fast. And even the bottom half of this field are better than average drivers. So, you know, and that's not meant to dissuade any newcomers. It's more of just, hey, this is what it is. I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, you're always gonna have somebody to race no matter how fast you are. It's not that large of a series. So that's just kind of not the case. We do have a number of really fast guys here. But I'm going to switch over so I can call this race. So I'll see you in a minute. Alright, boys, let's keep it tight coming through this hairpin. Green, 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 green! And I am back.
Welcome back.
Volvic here, trying to hold on to Mopar's bumper. He had got past him a couple laps ago and then had a bit of a spin, about a half of spin or so, and Mopar was able to get back by. Gonna hassle him here a little bit. I think maybe it was Abstract had a spin in the second turn on the first lap.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Unfortunately, we do have an announcement to retirement to announce. Racer has retired due to an incident in the hairpin, significant damage. He could not continue. So, unfortunately, we do have a retirement. That's never what we want to see, but
did you see that incident, Colin?
I did.
Okay. Well, you don't have to discuss
really noteworthy. It was just a couple cars getting together. It looked like a racing incident from what I was sitting at.
Okay.
If anything does come out of it, I do have video evidence of it, though. So.
Okay.
At least what I seen.
But it is Z93 still holding the lead of this race. Followed by One Space, who's pretty close, within a second of him. Then it's Sketty, then Mopar just a couple seconds behind him, followed by Volvic. We know he's right on his tail. Alex just a couple seconds behind Volvic, and then it's a bit of a gap to Filipino, pardon me, and then Abstract behind him. One Space just goes purple with a 130.2. Mopar, purple to 129.902.
One thing I cannot get over with these cars is how good they look going around the racetrack.
They do look good, don't they?
They do.
It's definitely a racy looking stock per se car. I mean, it's a Trans Am car. I understand that, but it does look appropriate going around this track if you're a NASCAR fan.
Last week at Zolder, turn 1 and 2 or I don't remember exactly the corner, was really bumpy, and what you've seen with these cars was them quite literally bouncing up and down.
They do bounce a lot, and you see that as they go through the infield carousel. The things are just like woo, up and down quite a bit. A lot of suspension movement.
And talking with
One Space all over Z here for the lead of this race. Not quite close enough on the entry of the hairpin. Going to come to the front stretch with just a few tenths behind. Mopar goes purple 129.9. Oh, I think that's the same lap as he did last time by. Pardon me.
Yes. Now he goes purple 129.5.
129.5. Thank you, Fallen.
Also, One Space is in front of Z.
I'm sorry. I missed it. Yeah. Jeez.
You're all right. It happens.
That's what I get for not being around for a month.
But no, these cars, I cannot get over how good they look going around the racetrack.
Z overcooks it there. It's going to cost him some time. And Mopar is creeping up on his tail.
I'm glad to see a significantly better start this race than there was last race.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still some issues, and I think it's guys tend to forget cold tires on starts.
Yep.
You really have to remember that because it's a significant difference. Significant.
I can confirm that. Based on my experiences, I've probably spent a lot more time on this game than I really should doing 24-hour racing, and in the dead of the night when your tires are the coldest, it is definitely a looser car than normal.
Yeah. Now, you've seen much more of the season, obviously, than I have. Has the tire wear and just the general lap speed of the car been consistent like this the whole season? Because these guys are running the same times at the beginning of the race as they are at the end of the race.
Yes. There has been a couple of times where people have taken no tires during this season.
Huh.
So the times have not been falling off with this tire.
Are most guys running... What are the tire options on this car? Like mediums, hard, softs?
I think they're hards only. I believe
really?
they're only hards.
Okay.
Yep. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not 100%.
That's right.
Mopar's getting around Z right now.
Yep.
Mopar's clear of Z. So this is completely unrelated to the racing, but I've noticed a small trend starting among the drivers here. About half the field runs with their headlights on during the races now, no matter what time of day it is. Why do you think that is?
Probably because it illuminates the dash, I'm guessing.
True.
So it's easier to see your gauges. I do it a lot too. Where I have when I drive.
What I've noticed is it's been becoming more and more significant as the seasons go on. I believe this car has a significantly darker dashboard than most, and that's why a lot more guys are running that headlight display, or the headlights.
Right. Makes sense.
Because there are no headlights on these cars, obviously. Although, being behind one of these cars when they have their rear tail lights on can be a little bit hard sometimes to tell when they're actually stepping on the brakes, depending on how the sun is reflecting off the back of the car.
Yeah.
I've noticed, so... Well, look at this freeway battle that I just happened to stumble upon.
Well, I'm watching Volvic right now, and I don't know if it's a game glitch or what. And if this is the same thing that Sketty's seeing, following him, I would be very irritated because his brake lights are on full time. Oh,
I'm
no,
not saying that.
I take it back. Nope, they're not. I think maybe it's just because his lights, or his headlights are on, so his
are you talking about
tail lights are illuminated? No,
Z's headlights, or Z's taillights are on. He does run his headlights. When you're riding on a car behind him, it does look like they're on constantly.
yeah, I was speaking of, yeah, Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it looked like it was like dragging the brake, but he's not.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about with the whole, it's
Right.
kind of hard to tell if they're on the brakes or not.
Oh man, I'm tired.
I believe we've distracted Z.
Well, he shouldn't be listening to us. But it's still one space at the front of the field, followed by Mighty Mopar in the second position. He's only 1.8 seconds back of the lead. Then it's Volvico 5 seconds back of him, with Sketty in tow. Alex O'Neill, then Z and Filipino in 7th. Then it's about a minute 20 to Abstract. And that is actually our final racer in this race, with Racer 420 being retired.
Unfortunately, it does look like Abstract just didn't quite get time to figure out the car.
Yeah, and that's okay. You know, he's
being new to the series. You don't know what to expect in your first race. I haven't seen him before, so I can tell you that this is the first race I did the race. So, you know, props for staying in with it and trying to learn.
Absolutely.
You know,
I give a lot of credit to that, because these are long races, and it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm not competitive. This is kind of boring. But he's trying to figure the car out. He's just, you know, in learning mode right now, I think, and that's not bad. That's not a bad thing, even though it's a competition and it's a race, and
I will say,
out there fighting for position. You know, not everybody is always going to be fighting for a win or fighting for a podium. Some days,
but what I have noticed with him is, just in the laps he's run, just running laps, getting around cars and stuff, his lap time has dropped around 5 seconds since his practice when we first got here.
Great.
I've been watching his progress.
Good.
He's dropped. So,
I wonder if he's on a wheel or if he's on a controller.
I believe he is, based on how his throttle inputs and braking inputs are. I believe he's on a wheel.
Okay.
But, you know, it's not always about being fast right out of the gate. Sometimes you come into a series not knowing what to expect, and, you know, what happens might surprise you. You might do really well in a series, or you might struggle. It happens. I've gone to several series where I absolutely struggled like there was no tomorrow. And when I was younger, I would just give up. It was, you know, I was 14, 15 years old. I can't win these races. Why should I be here? And I've grown wise at my old age. I'm 10 years now, and, you know, it's a lot easier for me to see why you should stay with something.
And one space has a bit of an off in the infield section. Mighty Mopar is going to go by for the lead. We're working lap 13 with about 24 and a half minutes to go in this race.
Pit stops are actually happening. Our Abstract has hit the pits first in this one. So pit stops should be happening for the leaders here fairly soon. The leaders the top four are really not that far separated, are they?
No, not really. It's 1.2, 3.6, and less than a second. So yeah, it's pretty tight, the top four, and that's like I said, the top half of this particular field tonight are really fast drivers. They're very competitive. They're fast. They're consistent. And they are typically week to week very close in pace.
unfortunately, I just seen one of the inevitable things about this game happen to Alex O'Neill here. He ended up hitting a landmine down by the sweeper and lost the position to Z, who then promptly spun out. So they equaled each other out, but unfortunately, the landmines are a very prevalent feature in this game, and it's something anybody could run into.
Well, according to a couple guys, or at least I think it was Hazard, who has decided to discontinue competing this season, it seems to be the car specifically that is very prone to hitting these things.
I don't know. I've noticed with my own experience with this game, landmines have been on the rise.
Interesting.
Speaking of, one space is in the pits, followed by Volvic. You alright?
Oh, just tired.
That's alright. I'm gonna have to get used to the third shift life, as...
Oh, really?
I'm going to be transporting my roommate to work back and forth from now on, so... It's part of the reason why he's not here tonight, is because of the, his job that he's about ready to start, so...
Okay.
Z and Alex are in the pits. Volvic and One Space are exiting. I don't know if I would want to pit before or after Mopar. If I was competing with Mopar and I was in front of him, I would want to... I don't know. Because if you pit before him, he gets that open track and he can just be gone. So, I wouldn't know what to do if I was in front of Mopar, although I'm not that fast. So, if I am up here in the commentary box and not down there on track, I wouldn't know what to do.
Speaking theoretically, if you are on pace with him,
and speaking of Mopar, he is in the pits along with Sketty.
I would, you know, pitting has a lot to do with your own personal, Alex having a little bit of an issue there, with your own personal performance and where you are with the car, but, you know, in a competitive environment versus another driver and trying to hold on to a position, you know, it's really hard to say because this type of situations, there's so many variables there. But my instinct would be to go as far as I can, and hopefully he pits before I do, and then I would probably come in the very next time by.
Yep. If he was significantly faster than me, then I won't worry about it. But if I'm on pace with him, and
I mean, I guess it depends on what my pit strategy is too. If I'm, it just depends. You know, how much time are you going to spend in the pits? How much fuel you do need? You know, all that kind of jazz.
Well, with the tires on this car, there is no need to pit at a specific time like there has been before. These tires aren't falling off like they normally do for cars, as far as I can tell.
Right, and I think that's a good point. And I think the question that you allude to, or the situation that I think you allude to here, is that the fact that Mopar has the ability to find the last tenth at the drop of a dime. If he sees you drop into the pits, he knows he's got to find 3/10, and he will do it within the next 12 turns. Almost guaranteed. You know what I mean? So if you're on pace with him, he's going to find what he needs to leapfrog you this lap right now. It's not going to have to warm up. He's not going to have to like get back in a groove or figure out where to be faster. He knows how to do it, and he's just going to execute.
And that's where I'm, you know, a lot of guys can't do exactly that. But these top guys can.
No.
Any one of these top 4 or 5 guys can do that.
It's really only the best drivers that have the ability to find that last little bit at a moment's notice. I can't do that.
Speaking of the top 4, Sketty's sitting in 4th, and he has in earshot of all 4 of them, or all 3 of the leaders. They are within about a second of each other.
Oh man,
they have to be.
Well, it's 3/10, 8/10, 6/10. So yeah, this is a gaggle here for sure. This is some good stuff. I'm glad you brought that up because I was.
Well, I happen to just.
I apologize if I've been a little bit lazy on the camera tonight. I have not been
getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely, I'm definitely not in the swing of things. That's for sure.
But I will say, yeah, I was just watching Mopar. I've been a little bit lazy on the camera. You know, I'm kind of trying to be a steward here, and I've been a little bit lazy on the camera myself. Not gonna lie. I've been watching Mopar, and I didn't realize there was 3 cars right behind him as I was watching him. Because I'm following him on chase cam, because that's how I usually do my stewarding. Is I'm always on chase cam, because in my opinion, that's one of the best cams to be in for watching
for stewarding.
Yeah. So, yeah, you miss a little bit when you're doing this. You miss what's around the back of them, but. And I just happen to drop back and still see pretty much the same camera when I drop back to one space, and then still see the same camera when I drop back to Volvic, and then Sketty's got all 3 of them right in front of him. I'm like, hey! And I don't think any one of them is faster than the other, really. They're all running about the same pace right now.
Yeah, they're all running low mid 130s. When there's such a pack, when you got a pack going on like this, your lap time heavily depends on how you have to drive any given corner at any given lap. You know, sometimes you stretch out a lead, you can run the line you want, but if the guy gets a run on you, you have to run something defensive, which is going to be a little bit slower. So it's hard to. It becomes much harder. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it definitely becomes a bit more difficult to run consistently fast lap time. Yeah, typically Mopar will run 29s. If he has open track and he doesn't have to worry about anybody behind him, and he's motivated, he can run that. He can run that pace. It's still Mopar 1 space, Volvic Sketty. Yep. And Mopar is starting to stretch it out now.
He's gonna start driving now.
It's only a second and a half. That's not a huge gap by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but for Mopar, that's more than enough to not have to worry about what's behind him now.
Yeah.
Although, as I say that, he makes a mistake going through the one of the final corners.
Well,
I can definitely see it.
Purple sector 1 and 2 that lap. That was a 1:28.8. Fastest lap of the night. Good night.
All he's doing is putting a good old stamp on a solid season.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And these other guys can do nothing but watch it all happen.
Yep.
But these this second, third, fourth battle is pretty darn good because these guys can't get away from each other.
all three of them are just as fast as one another.
Yep, any given lap, one of them is going to be a little bit faster than the other, or vice versa. Abstract has got down to 133s.
It looks like the main thing he needs to focus on right now is definitely just getting consistent with the car.
Well, he won't have to worry about it after 12 minutes from now.
Yep. I will give
This
him
car will be
once again.
out of here, and we'll be on to the next season with a new car. I have no idea what it's going to be.
I'll give him props once again. As much as he's been struggling, he is still going out there and he's still taking off the laps, trying to learn the car.
Oh yeah, major credit for toughing it out and just working on driving. You know, that's awesome because it takes practice to be competitive, and I don't necessarily mean competitive in this particular environment, but just competitive in general. You can't just say, "Hey, I want to be a race car driver," and go do it.
We do have a wonderful group of guys out here. Any one of these fast guys would be more than happy if you catch them in a practice lobby. They'd be more than happy to have a little bit of one-on-one time with a younger driver to teach them a little bit of what they know. I know because I've had one-on-one time with all four of these guys at one point or another in my career. I've had a little bit of a one-on-one time. Mopar taught me a little bit about how to take pocket time, for example. You know, and any one of these guys who's really fast will spend a little bit of time with you to, you know, it might not be 6 hours, but they take 15, 20 minutes to, you know, see how you're doing and give you a couple pointers on how to improve your lap time a little bit. And if you listen to them, you're going to learn a lot from these guys. Just being around them, you'll learn a lot. Show up to the Monday practices, and anybody who's there is always there to help. The Monday practice is a really relaxed room just to kind of tweak your car and talk to the faster guys, see how they're running. What can you learn from them? Big wreck right in front of the leaders.
Ooh! Wow. Who was that?
Who was that? That would be Z.
There goes
That's a
the
tire
hood.
lost. Yeah, he's definitely on 3 tires. Yep. Left front tire is gone.
And that brought one space to within 7/10 of Mopar for this lead.
That, if you're a Mopar and you see that happening, yeah, you freak out a little bit.
Oh yeah. Back it down, and just try to get back up to pace. I mean, you will.
Yeah. He did exactly what he needed to do. He waited for the gap to open and then went through it.
Yep.
I was riding along with Mopar when it happened. I heard him let off the gas as soon as he saw smoke. Just kind of... He didn't hit the brakes. He just kind of let off the gas just to let the situation clear real quick.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he found those lanes,
you know,
he went
the
through
last thing that you want to do is overreact to a situation, because that you can exponentially make it worse. it instantly.
Good on
I know.
Z to not try to pull it into the pits and stuff. He just pulled it off into the infield and just parked it.
So we are 8 minutes to go in the final race of this season. It is Mopar, One Space, Volvic in your top three. Then Sketty Filipino, Alex, Z with some major mechanical issues, and Abstract
I would consider,
just trying to get up to speed.
I would consider Z retired.
Yeah, he's parked in the field. He's not doing anything else.
Very Trans Am parking job, by the way. Where they dump you if you were, Uh-oh. Abstract just lost a tire. And is retired. So, two very significant accidents within a few laps of each other in the same area. That's...
Really?
Yep. Because he was running fine when he passed Z, and then I snapped back to him, and he was sparking away and slow, and then he's in the pits.
Huh.
So. I think I see what happened. He bounced off the inside wall and smashed it outside the retaining wall, and it just wrecked his car. It's tight to that final section. It's unfortunate. We've been talking good about him this race. He's been doing exactly what he needs to do, and made a mistake in one of the tightest sections on this track, and it just cost him the rest of the race. It happens, though. That's the nature of running full damage right here. Is
Yep.
These things can happen at any time.
There is a lot to be said about just being able to run consistent laps. Sketty with a little trouble there. The car looks so twitchy. Very unrealistic looking from this view. I've seen it from other drivers too, when the car starts to push or it looks very twitchy. I mean, I'm sorry, twitchy is not even the right word. Jittery, I would say.
Yes.
The whole car just like stutters. And I think that's just a limitation on the physics on the console. I think. Because I can tell you this, on PC everything is much smoother. Yes. Everything is smoother. Of course, I think that depends on your hardware, but
one thing I've noticed is I think this is also a limitation. When somebody spins on our screens, when we're watching that spin, they just kind of do a circle, but when you know when they're spinning because they'll just do a pretty unnatural circle. It's why when you're watching our streams, you don't really see what happened so much. Just all of a sudden somebody kind of looks like they just kind of drove off the track.
Mm-hmm.
That's not so much what happened. They got sideways and they kind of slid off the track. But because of the nature of how that information is relayed to us, we see them as they just kept turning and drove off the track. Again, hopefully these types of issues are addressed in Project Cars 2, which I believe they will be.
Yeah, I believe there's a lot of things that are going to be addressed and fixed and upgraded in Project Cars 2. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I can say unequivocally I will not buy it for PlayStation. Once I have... I mean, quite frankly, I don't intend to do a whole lot more driving on PlayStation in general. I mean, I have a nice gaming PC, and I'll have my triples going, and even on a controller, I'd rather play with that until I get my driving rig, and at that point, I'll be solely on PC. I mean, I didn't invest in all that so I could play on I hate to use the term substandard version, but it kind of is, you know. I know that sounds kind of derogatory, but I mean the game's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's, you know, it's not as good as it is on a more powerful machine. But there are definitely going to be some improvements in Project Cars 2. No matter what platform you're playing on, the next iteration of the series is going to be so much better. I personally am looking forward to the fact that, from what I understand, triple monitor support is going to be much better in Project Cars 2, because quite frankly it's kind of half-assed in this iteration in the original Project Cars game. Speaking on PC, of course, because I noticed that once I got my triples up and running, I realized I was trying to get everything appropriate, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. And the more I started to read up on it, I realized there was a lot of people that complained about it.
Well, when this game was developed, under development, triple screens were not really the biggest thing. That just recently caught on.
People have been running triple screens in Gran Turismo 6 for years. With 3 PlayStation 3s. You know.
But on PC, you know, you didn't hear so much about triple screens until...
There's a fantastic race between Volvic and Sketty. Or, I'm sorry, Volvic and One Space. Pardon me. Oh, and they're taking each other out.
One Space gave back the spot. Good on him.
I don't know if he had much of a choice, to be quite honest. I think he had to pretty much come to a stop, otherwise he was going to put Volvic all the way into the fence.
Yeah, that was definitely not quite right, but at the same time, I think he's realizing how close it is to the end of the race, and he's just throwing himself at it. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you throw yourself at it sometimes.
So we are 30 seconds from the end of this race. It looks like Mopar he's got a 4-second lead. He will almost certainly take the big double W. On the night. No, I'm sorry. Volvic won the first race. I apologize for that.
You're not in it tonight, are you?
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be chatty. I'm trying to fill commentary with topics that are not related to what's on screen. I've missed 5 races. Give me a break.
It's very hard to get back in the swing of things. I know. Trust me, I've been on track, so I know the cars very well. It's the whole commentary thing is, yeah, kind of foreign to me again.
Well, it's a difficult art, that's for sure. When you're trying to.
Yes. I give the guys who actually do this for a living very, very many props.
Well, they're also far better prepared than I am.
Yeah, we kind of go in here and wing it.
I just wing it. Like, I grab a couple things up on screen. I got my computer on. I have my points in front of me, but I haven't done a whole lot of research on things. I don't have, you know.
And that will give Mopar the win. Hopefully it's second. Here comes One Space for third. And Sketty for fourth.
Sketty's kind of crossed the line here for fourth.
Eventually.
Filipino coming through the infield at the moment. And
Thank you to the guys who stuck around after you guys retired. That makes it a lot easier for scoring for us. Because now we don't have to figure out where everybody was when they ended up having an issue.
Yeah, I can see Abstract put 18 laps in.
Now, do have an interesting situation here. I want to know how you would do this. Z had a problem first, but he completed more laps before he had his problem.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So,
it comes down to how many laps you put in.
Okay, that's what I was making sure of.
Yeah. I think Z needed to put in a couple more laps, because if he would have stopped when he had his issue, he would end up losing points to Abstract.
No, unfortunately, he did not put in any more laps after he.
Oh,
wrecked,
he did not.
Just pulled off to the side.
Oh, okay.
He did
oh,
not.
You know what? Abstract had the issue. That's why.
Yep.
He couldn't stop putting in laps as well. A 128.854 for Mopar. Wow.
That is a significant lap here. That is very quick for these cars. And he did it mid-race, not under time trial mode or anything. That's
all right. How about some provisional points? What do you say?
I say let's do it.
Now, there were some issues, so we'll just have to kind of see what happens with all that. But
these are definitely quotation marks with provisional all around it, so we will have official points posted on the thread later, later this week. So
yeah, it'll be like Saturday.
Yeah. But anything you guys hear is not official tonight. Although I didn't see any significant issues with Mopar.
Well,
so
I'm
I'm fairly
say
certain
with
that it's official.
certainty that Mopar more than
Mopar
likely
won.
has this season wrapped up.
That's with about a 95% certainty there. So I'm much more confident in that Mopar victory versus the last time I tried to call it. I did not get a replay.
Nope, I got nothing. I was not in the proper view anyways. I'm gonna go over to the room, okay? Alrighty, guys. If you're watching this stream, yeah, I know. I figured I'd do this real quick. If you're watching this stream, that concludes the that concludes the season. Actually, we will be racing next week. It is it's a non-points event. It's for fun. I think we're doing the Group A challenge that we did like a year ago or so, which was a really fun event. Stock Group A cars, and we do like 3 qualifying sessions that decides who gets in what car. And was it like 3 races that we did or something? I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me at the moment. It was really a fun event though, because those Group A cars are really close without doing any kind of modifications to the setup at all. They're all really, really close and fun to drive. So that's next week. That's just a for fun event. Don't have to put in a whole lot of time since it's going to be a spec race. It's a lot of fun. And then I think a week off after that, and then we'll kick off what'll be season 8 the following Wednesday, which would be the 31st of May, if I'm not mistaken. So we will see you then. Take care.